Now let's leave boxing and quickly go to Madrid, Spain. Barcelona, of course, we'll be talking with La Liga TV reporter Bruno. You'll be telling us this morning what's going on in Barcelona, especially. We know there's Ronald Koeman there. I mean, he's the new man in charge, but everyone has been saying it's not all about Ronald Koeman. What about the players? What about the whole structure, at Barcelona right now? Barcelona used to be an institution. Okay, it's an institution. It's an institution, but from the way it's looking like, everyone is wondering what has gone wrong. It's not being run properly. I mean, for the past 4 years, I mean, it's not been looking good. And Bruno actually alluded to that. The first time we spoke to him, he says, look, Barcelona will not even win the league. Even at that time, they were even at the top
and we all agreed with him. Trustingly, and it turned out
to just be so because the handwriting have been on the wall for a long time. Bruno joins us now from Madrid, Spain, to talk more about this. Good morning, Bruno. It's good to have you join us again this morning.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. So what's currently going on at Barcelona? I mean, you actually predicted all this will happen, especially in the Champions League. They just managed to get past Napoli, but against Bayern, of course, the whole issue was actually out of play. And now they have a new coach, Ronald Koeman. That's the man in charge. What changes do you think he can bring to Barcelona?
Well, he's got a difficult job, that's for sure. Ronald Koeman, the thing that's in his favour is the fact that he is a legend of the club as a player. He scored the goal that won them their first European Cup. So he is going to have that benefit of the doubt, that backing from the fans. He's someone that they accept, unlike Quique Setién, who there were a lot of doubts about when he came in. And the other thing is that when Ronald Koeman was the manager at Valencia here in Spain, he didn't do a very good job, it must be said. He was close to going down with a star-filled side, but he did make big decisions in leaving out big players like Santi Cañizares, David Albelda. They were big players in the dressing room, and he didn't worry about getting rid of them. So I think they've brought him in as well because he's got that strong character, and he's not going to be afraid to go to 3 or 4 of those big name players in the Barcelona dressing room and say, look, I don't want you in my team. You're going to have to go somewhere else.
That's interesting. I mean, big names players. We know that some of those big names happens to be Lionel Messi, Luis Suarez, and Rakitic, and the likes of Gerard Piqué. Now, outside these 4 big players, what do you think is really wrong with playing at Barcelona, especially knowing that they could have done better against Bayern Munich?
Well, the Bayern Munich game was about as bad as it could get, really. We had seen for a while, as I said on the show a couple of months ago, you could see that this Barcelona side wasn't functioning. For a couple of seasons, it'd been Messi's excellence, really, which had painted over the cracks. But you could see that there were flaws, there were some problems there that were rising. And for me, the main problem was that when Barcelona were on top of the world, they were a high-pressing team. They were full of energy. They lost the ball and they won it back quickly. They were hungry to get the ball back. And now you see them playing on the pitch and there's absolutely no energy. It's been completely zapped out of the players. And I think the main example is a player like Busquets in midfield. He used to be the man who ran the show in midfield. And now you can see against Bayern Munich, he was getting past like airplanes just flying past him left, right and centre. So I think the 8-2 result was a humiliation for Barcelona, but it was a good result in the sense that it was a wake-up call which said, hey, we've reached rock bottom, something has to change. If it would have been a smaller result, maybe they would have said, oh, it's not that bad, we can continue, with this sinking ship. This forces them to make decisions.
Okay, all right, we need to take a short break. We'll be back to you after this. Welcome back. We still have Bruno in this. We still have Bruno from Spain and talking to us about the appointment in the studio. Right? Can you imagine about the appointment of Ronald Koeman and of course what has happened to Barcelona over the years, how it's been there.
Yeah, very very interesting. Appointments and Bruno. I mean, Barcelona, they're still a massive club. So whenever you get that call as a coach, you're definitely going to listen to what they have to say. For Koeman, though, he signed a 2-year deal, but there's a situation on ground where there's elections, presidential elections next year, and one of the front runners for that role, Victor Font, is committed to bringing in Xavi if he wins the election. I mean, what do you make of all this, Koeman knowing that there's a good chance he might not be in charge of that club in a few years from now?
Yeah, that's right. Koeman's taken a gamble, really, because he was leading the Netherlands, possibly as a manager. Well, not possibly. He was leading the Netherlands into the European Championships next summer. and he's decided to leave that role and take a risk at what could be, as you say, just one season at Football Club Barcelona if Victor Font does win the elections. I think that if anyone wins the elections, whoever presents themselves, anyone that wins, I don't think they'll continue with Ronald Koeman unless if he has a stellar season, because what the new board is going to want to do, they're going to want to break away with everything that this current board has done. So they're going to want to try and get rid of everything that Josep Maria Bartomeu has done, the current chairman. So I'd be very surprised if someone that comes in new is going to continue with the manager that was appointed by Bartomeu. But as you say, for him, I just think it was too much of an appetizing call, really, to go back to Barcelona, a club which he loves as well, which has got those links between Dutch football and Barcelona. So I think he's taken a gamble, but maybe he's seeing it as a one season where he can really get himself in the spotlight, and who wouldn't want to manage some of the best players in the world?
You're right. Perhaps this kind of calls are come once perhaps in a lifetime. And during his unveiling yesterday, Koeman talked about this being the moment to give young players a chance. You look at that Barcelona side. Which of these young stars do you think are ready to make the step up? We've seen Ansu Fati last season. It was very, very good when it came on. Which other players does Koeman have available for him, the youngsters?
Yeah, that's something exciting about Koeman as well, because there are some youngsters coming through at Barcelona now. As you say, Ansu Fati is the most exciting player to have come out of the academy for a very long time, still only 17 years of age. He's someone that we want to see playing more, because he's a very exciting player. But you've also got Riqui Puig in midfield. He's a small central midfielder who's sort of reminiscent of a Xavi Iniesta, one of these small, not very muscly players who looks like they're going to be blown over, but they're just tremendously skillful, tremendously intelligent. And you definitely say that these two players are knocking at the door and deserve to get more first-team action. And that will be interesting to see if Ronald Koeman does throw them straight away into the first team, and to see how they can progress this season, taking over in such a complicated time as well for a young player to come in at Barcelona when things really aren't going their way.
Okay, Ronald Koeman also said that he was going to speak with Lionel Messi, especially, in the just recently, everyone has been saying he's not satisfied with what is going on in the club, and he's likely going to see out his contract so that he can leave, because he's a 700 million euros clause. No one will be ready to pay that.
That's right. The Messi situation is one that's got everyone very nervous in Barcelona, and especially the fact that, as you say, he can see out his contract and leave for free, which would be a huge blow for Barcelona, especially given their financial situation, where they're struggling quite a lot right now to balance the books. But it does seem that every time we've heard the rumours of Messi maybe leaving, it's always felt like it's been a bit of a call on his side to try and change things at the club, to put that pressure on the club. But this time, for the first time, at least sources close to Messi are suggesting that for the first time he is actually thinking about leaving the club. Of course, anyone willing to sign him would have to reach an agreement to bring down that sort of release clause, because no one's going to pay that amount of money. But it does look like PSG or Manchester City or Inter Milan are sniffing at the possibility of taking Leo Messi away from Football Club Barcelona. And what an incredible move that would be. We never thought that we would see Messi live in Barcelona.
You didn't mention Manchester City, though.
He did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
All right. Manchester City, of course, have all the money in the world to perhaps pull that deal off. And what about the fans? What's the reaction been like to the appointment of Koeman? Of course, like I said, he's a legend of the club. I imagine the Barca fans are quite excited.
Yeah, I think talking about the fans, a thing that's kind of worked Barcelona's ways is that the season's been played behind closed doors at the end of the season. Else, the boos and the jeers and the whistles and the white handkerchiefs would have been monumental at the Camp Nou throughout this end of the season. The fans, I wouldn't say they're excited, because they're right on the back end of an 8-2 thrashing by Bayern Munich. Everyone's angry still, hurt. The fact that Ronald Koeman comes in, yes, I think it's someone who's not going to anger them more, because they do like him, as you say, he's a legend of the club. But what everyone's angry about is the fact that Bartomeu is still here. Why hasn't he resigned? Why hasn't he called new elections? I know that there's not enough time between one season and the other, but people just want him out. That's the main issue. Until he's gone, there's still going to be that resentment and anger around the Barca fans.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, he seems to be the major problem right there at Barcelona. Well, Bruno, I want to thank you so much for making our time to talk to us once again this morning. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.